Dad, can you go now? There. Now, where was I? So, today, I'm going to understand that I'm going to do a review of The Mummy Returns in this next chapter of the second phase of what I'm going to do in the latest review of Mummy Month. As I know that The Mummy Returns is a 2001 American adventure film which was written and directed by Stephen Sommers, which stars the returning celebrities Brendan Fraser, Rachel Weisz, John Hannah, Arnold Vosloo, Oded Third, Patricia Velasquez, Freddie Both, Alan Armstrong, and Dwayne Johnson in his film acting debut. Even though it's a direct sequel to the 1999 film The Mummy and was distributed by Universal Pictures, for some reason, the plot is very simple. In the year 1933, 80 years after the events of the first film, Rick and Evelyn are now married, and they now have a son named Alex, in what they set out on their next quest to discover a strange-looking artifact, which is related to how the Scorpion King was trying to lead his army to conquer Egypt. Even though Anubis claimed his soul and his army got sent back to the underworld. For some reason, their son Alex discovers the bracelet of Anubis that he uses it for some reason. However, since the bracelet was locking onto his hand, what shows him the visions directing him to Amshuri, Evelyn becomes kidnapped by a cult who is trying to resurrect Imhotep with the Book of the Dead, which was originally used in the first film. And what they wish to use his power to defeat the Scorpion King for revenge, so they can let Imhotep command his army. However, the evil Botus Hafez is leading his cult, including his enforcers, Lochnar and Milanese. But the physical reincarnation of Imhotep's love interest, Ankh Samnanum, they realize that Rick and Alex set out to rescue Evelyn with the help of their old friend Jonathan, who had got his hands on a golden scepter, especially the Magi Adefbe, who has returned to help them. Even though when Rick frees Evelyn in a massive battle, Alex gets kidnapped in what he ends up leading the cult with the visions of his bracelet. However, the O'Connors pursue them with Rick's best friend Izzy, in what they notice that something crazy is happening. The only way to use the dirigible, Imhotep uses the Book of the Dead to restore Ankh Samnanum's soul into Mila's body, in what he allows Evelyn to unlock the memories of her previous life as Princess Nefertiti and the bracelet's keeper, as well as Pharaoh Seti I's daughter. However, at the edge towards the said climax, things take a turn for the worst when they travel to the oasis edge, where Imhotep realizes he's being pursued to use his magic to destroy the fountain, in what Izzy tries to repair it, but they infiltrate the cut as they get attacked by pygmy mummies. However, Rick rescues Alex while Ardef kills Lochnar, but they escape the pygmies and they kill the cult members except for Halfez, who has escaped without being killed. However, when the bracelet detaches from Alex, Imhotep then arrives with Hafez and Ankh Sunaman to kill Evelyn before entering to the pyramid. But as Hafez uses the bracelet to conjure his army, what appears to be outside of the oasis, Rick finds Imhotep summoning the Scorpion King to attack him. But the Scorpion King is now an enormous scorpion monster who is interrupting the fight, but Imhotep tricks him into attacking Rick, in what Ardef and the Magi battle the resurrected army. Even though when Scorpion King and Rick fight, Hafez gets caught in the melee and gets killed, but Jonathan and Alex use the Book of the Dead from Ankh Samnanum and use to rescue Evelyn. However, Rick discovers hieroglyphs that explain that his friend's scepter is actually the spear of Osiris, even though Jonathan and Evelyn somehow used the scepter to slay the Scorpion King and send him back to the underworld. But the oasis somehow crumbles on impact as they both cling onto the ledge of a cliff that leads to the underworld. But Rick implores Evelyn to escape before it's too late, but she sacrifices herself to pull Rick to safety. Seeing this, Imhotep pleads for Anck-su-namun to do the same, but she abandons him. Heartbroken, Imhotep lets go and falls into the underworld towards his death. While fleeing, she inadvertently falls into her own pit, full of scorpions that killed her off screen. At the last moment, Izzy uses a dirigible, which has now been modified, rescues the O'Connors as they escape the crumbling Oasis pyramid, along with John for swiping the diamond capstone, as they depart to the sunset, with Ardeth Bay saluting them to ride off, which would set up the events of the first episode of The Mummy, Secrets of the Magi. For some reason, this was a prequel to that said cartoon show that I pretty much saw when I was a kid. But I understood what happened in this show. As I know it was called The Mummy, the animated series also serves itself as a direct sequel to The Mummy Returns, where following the events of The Mummy Returns, the O'Connors are now being chased around the world by an undead, corrupted Imhotep, who has now become a high priest. With the help of his lackey Colin Weasler, they want to get the manacle of Osiris off Alex's hand. But this takes a trip across the world trying to encase the lost scrolls of Thebes, which was the only things that can remove the manacle from Alex's DNA. But the scrolls must be destroyed to protect Imhotep from possessing the manacle. From the second season, he gets trained as a magi to combat Imhotep, as well as facing new threats along the way. This sounds like something interesting. Even though it was on Kids WB at that time, from 2001 to 2003, with a total of 26 episodes, this felt kinda awesome in my opinion. For a sequel like no other than before, for the pros, it did receive commercially acclaimed success despite mixed reviews and a positive fandom acclaim for fans of Universal. Since then, when it first got released on May 18th, 2001, it was claimed to have a budget of a box office success of $435 million on a budget of $98 million. Since then, lots of people enjoyed this movie because they always think it's really fun for me to watch. If I think of Phantom Menace and Philosopher's Stone and Fellowship of the Ring thrown into one, this was like the Egyptian Lord of the Rings. As I know, in a more swashbuckling urban fantasy twist to it, despite being filmed in London for some reason, those were just the pros. But for the cons, there are some funny reasons why. There are some cons of what I can understand. I don't know why Freddie Both, who was a big fan of The Mummy 1999, spent 30 times doing this and passed on the opportunity to play in Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone while participating in this movie, because Freddie Both said that he was considered for the role to portray, Professor Quirrell, aka Lord Voldemort, but stepped down for obvious reasons why he joined The Mummy over Harry Potter. It kind of sounds very creative, but there are some criticized digital effects of the Scorpion King that were rushed for only 8 days, despite the VFX graphics being really bad. Well, it was created by Industrial Light and Magic from the first film. However, sometimes the airport scene where the dirigible was intended to be in the abandoned Royal Air Force, which Winston Havelock from the first film would fly his biplane to fight the Mummy. Although it would feel a bit too inappropriate to what happened in what we got from the recent disaster that was 9/11, the whole idea of what happened to this unused scene the one where Winston uses a biplane to fight Imhotep in the skies of London, would feel a bit too extremely inappropriate to 9/11. For some reason why 9/11 was the main reason why I think this movie did have an inappropriate scene that got cut for no reasons. Despite the Mummy Returns being altered before 9/11 could actually happen, that could apply to many movies being altered throughout 9/11. It kind of sounds really bad. In case Back to the Future predicted 9/11 along with King Kong 1976, since then, I had no idea why would a giant gorilla climb on the Twin Towers before it got destroyed. It kind of sounds really nasty. And also, we can't identify what was going on with the whole Alex not discovering Amorphous because of Jonathan succeeding to discover why he remembers it. Because he said that symbol was shaped like a stock near the end of that movie. Since then, Alex got stuck in the same symbol, proclaimed, "Oh, I know that one," and told her to pronounce it, for saying that they just had no idea why there was a stork involved. A stork? What the heck is a stork anyways? I have to remember there's one problem. I just didn't really like storks for some reason. Because that movie fucking sucks! Yeah, despite those awkwardly awful nitpicks, despite the filmmakers multiplying 200 horsemen to make an army of 10,000 warriors, and also, this felt a bit extremely abrupted to have some out-to-date scenes of what we end up getting in a DVD version. Early UK releases removed a headbutt between Rachel and Patricia, which was ordered to qualify 12 rating, but the 2008 DVD release is totally uncut, and a sequence where Adef and Rick are fighting to get Evelyn back, where Imhotep arises, and was originally longer, but the gun battle was deemed too long because it was inappropriate for kids, because it got an R rating because of blood and deaths, and excessive gunfire. Because Stephen Sommers and Bob Duxey mentioned it was significantly longer but shorter to be PG-13 to ensure that rating. That was only in the UK. And when Rick leaves to get Evelyn out of the museum, Jonathan and Alex will force staying put in the car while he leaves, saying, "Watch over him." Jonathan replies that he would. In some other versions, it extends that scene by saying, "I wasn't talking to you." Yeah, that took only 49 seconds for a scene to be made. Yeah, it's kind of really bad, but those were the crazy nitpicks that I really don't like. But despite the nitpicks, I'd say we need to give The Mummy Returns a perfect rating. I'd say I'm going to give this movie mainly just some sort of a even better but surprisingly improved 8 out of 10. Because it's really fun for me to watch this movie, there are some predicted nitpicks that I can't stand. But with that out of the way, I could have to understand what I could do from now on. From now on, this was me, Sahil Karimullah, signing off from here to now. So if you would hit the like button, you could subscribe me to you all now. So, bye!